host. You are standing in the shadows of Greenwich Palace. On a sweltering July morning in 1588 AD, the air is thick with the mingled scents of unwashed bodies. Rotting rushes on the floor, and the sickly sweet perfume that courtiers use to mask what lies beneath. Through the heavy wooden doors, you hear the rustle of silk as Queen Elizabeth I holds court. But as you draw closer, another smell cuts through the floral masks, something sharp and metallic. Like copper pennies and stagnant water, mixed with the earthy musk of a body that has known soap only as a stranger. The Virgin Queen, Gloriana herself, sits on her throne. She smiles, revealing teeth the color of autumn leaves. This is the woman who defeated the Spanish Armada, a magnificent ruler. But beneath that facade lay habits that would make a modern person recoil in horror. Today, we're uncovering the 10 most revolting hygiene habits of Queen Elizabeth I's host. Before we dive into these forgotten stories, if you enjoy learning about the hidden truths of history, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more content like this. And please, comment below to let me know where you're watching from. It's incredible that we can explore these stories together from all over the world. Now, to understand why England's greatest queen lived this way, we have to understand her world, a world where bathing was considered dangerous and medicine was guesswork. By the standards of her time, Elizabeth was actually progressive. She famously declared that she bathed once every 3 months, whether I needed or not. When she did bathe, the water was hauled from the River Thames, which was already polluted with the waste of London, including sewage and dead animals. The soap available was a harsh mixture of animal fat and wood ash that was more likely to strip the skin than cleanse it. As you can imagine, after 3 months, the Queen's body odor was so potent that a French ambassador complained. He had to hold a pomander of sweet herbs to his nose just to endure an audience with her. Perhaps her most infamous hygiene failure was her teeth. The Queen had an insatiable appetite for sugar, which in the 16th century was a status symbol more expensive than gold. Her diet was filled with candied fruits, sweet wines, and she would nibble on sugar all day. With no brushing or flossing, her teeth began to turn brown, then black from decay. The pain was often excruciating. By 1590, the Venetian ambassador wrote, "The Queen's teeth are so black and rotten that it is a wonder she can speak at all. The smell from her mouth forced me to breathe through my mouth during our entire audience." The Queen's famous red hair was mostly fiction after her 30s. Her hair loss was caused by the lead-based cosmetics she used. The wigs she wore were their own source of nightmares. The hair came from peasant women and was often dirty and lice-infested when purchased. The wigs were never washed, only dusted with powders, and they accumulated months of sweat, oil, and grime. Lice thrived in the warm environment, and ladies-in-waiting would spend hours picking them out, but the parasites always returned. Elizabeth's signature white face was achieved with a toxic mixture of white lead and vinegar called ceruse. This was applied every morning, building up in layers that would crack like old plaster. She never fully removed it. Instead, new layers were applied over old ones. To remove it, the hardened paste had to be scraped off, often taking skin with it and leaving bloody scratches that would be covered with fresh poison the next day. This led to chronic lead poisoning, causing fatigue, memory problems, and hair loss. Elizabeth owned over 3,000 magnificent gowns, but they were never washed. The fine silks, velvets, and jewels couldn't withstand the harsh soaps of the era. Instead, they were cleaned by airing, brushing, and dousing them in perfume. She would wear a single gown for days or weeks, allowing body odor and sweat to penetrate deep into the fabric. Her linen undergarments were also rarely washed, becoming yellowed and stiff with sweat. The Queen's rich diet of roasted meats, sugary desserts, and spiced foods created a perfect storm of digestive problems. She suffered from severe bloating and gas, which was a source of constant embarrassment. Her tightly laced corsets only made the digestion and pain worse. The gas was legendary among courtiers, who would politely ignore the sounds and smells coming from the royal person. Beyond her rotting teeth, the Queen's entire mouth was a festering wound. Her tongue was often coated with a thick, yellowish film of bacteria and dead cells. Her gums were swollen and constantly bleeding, creating a metallic taste that she tried to mask with sweet wines. The lack of hygiene created a self-perpetuating cycle. The more sugar she consumed to mask the taste of decay, the worse her oral health became. Elizabeth's solution to her hygiene issues was to douse herself in heavy perfumes. Her favorite was civet musk, extracted from the anal glands of an African civet cat. But instead of masking the odors, the perfumes combined with them, creating a stench that courtiers described as like a rose garden built over a cesspit. The perfumes would also go rancid in the heat, creating something truly nauseating. Hidden away in silk stockings, Elizabeth's feet were perhaps the most neglected part of her body. They suffered from fungal infections, ingrown toenails, and a cheesy, rancid odor from the constant moisture. Her toenails grew long, thick, and yellow. The smell was so overwhelming that ladies-in-waiting described it as like rotting cheese mixed with vinegar. The Queen's bedchamber was a concentrated repository of all her hygiene failures. The bed linens were changed perhaps once a month, becoming stiff and yellowed with accumulated sweat and bodily fluids. The mattress, stuffed with feathers, was a breeding ground for insects and bacteria, having absorbed years of bodily fluids. The room was kept tightly closed to conserve heat, creating a thick, depressive atmosphere that made servants gag when they entered in the morning. Host. When Elizabeth Tudor died in 1603, the elaborate fiction that had hidden her hygiene disasters died with her. Servants preparing her body found a woman who bore little resemblance to the famous portraits. The rooms where she lived retained her distinctive odor for months after her passing. Elizabeth's greatest enemy wasn't Spain or France. It was the mirror, reflecting the price of denying the needs of mortal flesh. The woman who claimed she was married to England died wedded only to her own decay. Host, thanks for watching. What do you think is the most shocking detail about Queen Elizabeth's hygiene? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next deep dive into history.